Hi guys, Roxanne here from Tiny Home Living. Well, it's been a little while since I made a video. I am on my fourth round of what I call hamburger foot. Whatever I got last year, I'm actually on the fourth round of it. So, haven't been feeling great. It's hard to walk. My foot is basically like raw meat. And so it's a little hard to get things done. But we're going to go out and get the potatoes planted today because it's not terribly hot out. It's supposed to be 18 or something, but there's a bit of a breeze and it should be a really nice day to get that done. And we are a little bit behind. We went from being way ahead of the game to being behind as usual. So let's get started. Look at this. We bought seed potatoes, but look at the ones that were in the 20-footer. God, absolutely crazy. So hopefully they won't take too long to sprout in the ground. Look at this mess. I have mowed in here twice and then it rained. You wouldn't know that we had mowed at all. I would like to try this year making some dandelion jelly, even though Chris turns his nose up at it. And we got this area ready for the turkeys. We got the wire to put around here, posts in for the gate, but I have mowed in here twice too, and look how long the grass is. It's just crazy. So we got to get this done pretty quick too, as soon as the potatoes are in the ground, because those meat birds have to be moved out here. They're getting too big. I have put a little fence around the cherry tree. It's covered in blossoms. I might actually get a pie out of this tree if I can keep the chickens from eating them this year. Now we think that tree, the Battleford, is dead. This one we thought was dead, and I'm surprised because it was such a well-established tree. But then our friend was looking at it and we do have some little shoots on it. And at the bottom, I was going to try and dig this up, but it's so attached to the trunk, and there is some new growth on there. So I think if nothing else, we'll cut this tree off, put the bandage stuff on it, and let this grow into another little tree. But it's not completely dead if it has shoots up here. Very surprised. This one was covered in blossoms, and this is a new one. And this is a much bigger tree, another Honeycrisp. So, fingers crossed. And this cherry tree, I've decided to only put one of these little buckets on it because I want to make sure it's going to work before I destroy this tree, because it's doing so well too. This little branch here didn't end up budding, but it does have shoots on the bottom, so I don't want to wreck this tree, that's for sure. And that other little cherry tree I do believe is dead as well. So we lost a few trees this winter. The nursery said they think it might be because there was no moisture in the ground. My rhubarb is coming up. I've got 4 out of 5 plants. That's 3 and this is 4. There should be 1 in here, but it's not coming up. They seem to be doing well, but again, they're getting choked out by the grass again. The gooseberry, this big one, had blossoms all over it, so it is going to be covered in gooseberries this year. That one's not doing too bad, and this one looked like it was dead, but it's got some blossoms on it, or leaves on it now too. Now what we did the other night, you can see all these little saplings that are spreading from the roots of the tree line. So what we did the other night was we went around and dug up the easier ones, like these little ones here, and transplanted them over on the other side of the property, because we'd like to get a tree line growing across there, sort of a screen. So what we did, you can see all the holes that we've got out here. We're going to do some more, all these little ones, and plant them in a straight line along the property on that side, the north side, to get a nice tree line going over there. Or sorry, south side. But I mean, this one here is tiny. The nice thing is we did it the other day, and the very next day we got rain. So these are like weeds anyway, so they should grow. They should do really well, especially the small ones, because we're getting a really nice root ball on them. The bigger ones are much harder. They don't look very big, but my goodness, you should see the roots on these things. They're like you know, the size of a small tree underground. But we're going to get as many of these out of here as we can. Plant them over there because it'll cost us nothing but a little hard work. You can see where Chris has been digging out. Hopefully that's going to be where the root cellar is. And then we won't have potatoes doing what they are doing. You can see how many of these little trees there are all through here. And of course there are other places on the property too, but this area here just happened to be right full of them. Chris has to mow here, so we thought we'd get as many out of here as possible before we have to mow. This is the apple tree that we had to prop all the branches up on last year because it had so many apples. And I believe, yeah, this one's a Honeycrisp as well. I don't remember, I don't think that back one is a Honeycrisp, and the label's gone off it. So I may end up getting Chris to make some stakes to put permanently in the ground to say what they are, because, you know, that cherry tree I don't remember, and the tag is gone. So I planted only 2 little shallots in here to see what they would do, and they have done really well. It took quite a while for them to come up. But the other thing we have is ascaps are coming on these. Oops, and they fall off so easy. Didn't even get to taste that one. See what this one's like. These are so tart. But look at these plants. They are out of control. So, ooh, that's really tart. Anyway, I got another lemon tree. I'll pull it out so you can see how big it is. And this one, now the odd thing is that one there and this one, Home Depot, and they were the same price. Even though this tree is like 4 feet tall, this one's like maybe 18 inches tall. This greenhouse, because it gets so hot in here, has been fantastic, because these are basically tropical trees. Not so good for the other stuff, but I did get a few of my spinach strawberries to come up, and I have replanted some lettuce seeds in these other pots, and I even marked them. But this one here didn't, I think it had maybe 1 blossom, so we've got a blossom here, and I think there's a couple somewhere else. This tree is so bushy it's hard to tell. And I did notice all of these lime trees say lime tree, and then when you look at the label down here, they all say key lime. So I have 3 key lime trees. Now all of these leaves, everything here is new growth on this. It had no blossoms whatsoever when I bought it at Home Depot. So putting it in this greenhouse and having, you know, basically tropical temperatures has been just awesome. You know, and basically every blossom is going to be a lime. So, oh Rusty, no, do not eat the onions. They're pecking at my, apparently you're not supposed to give chickens onions, and they rip my onions and garlics out of the ground. So my 2 tomato plants that came up are doing really well. I put some heritage seeds in both of these pots to see if hopefully something will come up. I see a whole bunch of little somethings coming up, but I don't know if that's going to be weeds. Now this is the second lime tree I bought at the nursery, and you can see there are just little limes everywhere. There's a fairly big one out at the end of this branch here, and then there's another bunch coming here. So there are literally just clumps of limes coming on here. Even tiny blossoms still coming on these branches, and I thought those branches were dead. This is the Meyer lemon. So I'm getting lemons all over this. I want to split these two and put the lime and the Meyer lemon in different pots, but I will do that after it's blossomed and fruited. Like, look at this branch down here is all new growth. Just amazing growth after putting them in here. Now that branch is going from the lime side, the lime tree. This one here did not have any blossoms on it, and it's got blossoms coming too. So extremely happy with these lemon and lime trees. And look, we have some more haskaps over here. They fall off so easy, so I might better just eat them. I had pepper plants come up in here, and pepper plants came up in here. You can see how big some of them are. So I planted 2 or 3 seeds just to see what would come up, because these are seeds I saved myself from peppers when I'm cooking, and they work just as well as the ones you buy. So got those coming out. I will separate those, and hopefully we're going to have peppers all year round, but I'm going to have to get these haskap plants planted. We got to figure out where we're going to put them, because this is just crazy. Now that's that little shoot that I took off the Gloria tree, the big one that's dead over there. So if I get this one planted, I think I'm going to keep it in the greenhouse again this year. And if I get a shoot off of that one, I'll still end up with 2 Gloria trees, which will make me happy. Again, this currant bush that we found on the property is absolutely covered in blossoms. And a friend of ours told us that if you push a branch down on the ground, it'll take root. So there were 3 that were low to the ground, so I took 3 clumps of sod from planting the tree over there and put it on here, and I watered it really well, and then again it rained quite a bit. So I'm hoping I'm going to end up with 3 currant bushes out of this. Now if we do end up getting a tree spade in to move some stuff, I will move these big currant bushes over somewhere where we want them with the rest of the berries. Now I may end up doing the same thing over here with a couple of these branches that are low to the ground. But I would like to get this currant bush planted way over there with all the trees and the fruit bushes. So we'll see if that gets done this year. But you can see what we're doing. Chris did this with the tiller. Basically, that's what a lot of people are doing because of all the wildfires and because of the fire that happened next door. So gives you a little bit of a fire break. So you can see here, these are the trees that we planted. Now that one's not looking too bad. This one's a little droopy. So we may end up coming over with and watering these. This one doesn't look too droopy. But if you look up the line, you can see how, I mean, these things spread like weeds. So if we get these growing all along here, and Chris having tilled here made it easier, so we're going to plant them on this side of where he tilled, because then we have a break where, just like the other side of the property, where he can still mow the grass along the fence. But if we can get these saplings planted all along the tree line on this side, that would be just awesome. And I would love to get some little evergreens planted along here as well. You see the smaller ones do better. Although this one here, some of them are like doubles and triples. That one's actually 4. And it's not looking too bad either. So another thing we did was we cut some of this wire that we had left over from Ontario in half so we could get it almost all the way around the potato patch, keep the chickens out. It's a little more permanent than what we had cobbled together. And then Chris will make a gate here to get in and out. So the other thing I want to remind people, we are putting diatomaceous earth in the little valley, the dirt, before we plant the potatoes, because we did that last year for the first time and it kept the slugs away. We're going to use these up first, and we're going to plant them 6 inches apart instead of 8 to 12, because I think we have way too many now.
Wind's blowing that way, so you have to sprinkle up in.
I gotta get my gloves. So should I go start at bottom?
Start here and I'll just start.
Okay.
Rain. I've already allowed for a walk.
Okay. These guys are getting so big. Look at this barred rock rooster on the side here. And the little black rooster beside him. There's the pretty gray and white girl. There must be some still inside the little hutch. Not going to be too long before these guys can come out in free range. They'll be able to fend for themselves. Oh, there's the big guy in the doorway. Huge. I should mention my boots were nice and shiny. They were starting to crack. All my boots end up cracking and drying out. Apparently if you put Armor All on them, almost everybody has Armor All in the house, it keeps your rubber boots much longer. Keeps the rubber from cracking. Well, that's row 3 almost done. Going through these potatoes pretty quick. Now another thing we've done, look at that chicken in there. We took all these pieces of wire that Chris had made temporary tomato cages for me with, and we have used them for numerous different things. I made that little fence around the cherry tree. We've used these for a whole bunch of different things, and we also used it for here to kind of keep this in this area that we want. The little evergreen in there was dead already, so, and we want it close to the chicken coop, which is right here. So in the winter we're just going to keep adding to this compost. We layered the cut grass with some of the manure, and we'll just do another layer of cut grass. And apparently once it gets really well established, it gives off heat, and the chickens will actually eat from this pile. Of course, it's going to get an awful lot bigger than this. We've just been doing a little bit, like a couple toboggans full of grass, and then a couple of the manure, because we're old and tired. But look at, and the funny thing is, they're always jumping up onto the compost, so they can jump. They can easily jump over this little fence, but Chris has to lead them around this tree, and I had to do it one night too, and get them to follow him in here, because they stand out here looking in like, I don't want to go in there, but I don't know how. Silly chickens. They can get into anything you don't want them to get into, and then they stand here and look in. That one, I think that's the inspector. She's not having any problem. She's enjoying herself in the sun without being bothered by any roosters. Adding a little bit of that diatomaceous earth to the tire so they can bathe in there, but of course they prefer to bathe where they're not supposed to. And they actually like it. I did not clear any of the brush in here because it keeps it really nice and cool in here, and this is where they hang out on really, really hot days. So, and it gives them a little bit of cover from predators. We have a huge owl, a raven, and a hawk hanging around here. So you can see there, one of them is there behind Rusty. They like to bathe in the dirt in here too. And, oh, the inspector. No, that's not the inspector, that's a little chicken. The white roosters figured out how to get around. But anyway, we're just trying to keep this contained. We're going to keep adding to this, and the more it rots, the better it is for the chickens to feed off of. And we've seen videos where people say they do not buy chicken feed. This is what they do. And once you get it to a certain point. And of course, we keep wondering, how did people feed their chickens in the old days? They obviously weren't, I mean, the Waltons and our grandparents and great-grandparents were not going to the feed store and buying all kinds of feed for the chickens. Nobody did that. Nobody could afford to do it. And it's getting to the point where we can't afford to do it either. Feed has doubled just since last year. It's absolutely crazy. So, but of course the idea is to make it impossible for you to buy food and impossible for you to even grow your own food. That's the end goal. So we're just going to try some old-fashioned ways and see what we can come up with. Some of these little evergreens were looking a little rough too, but this one's got new buds on it all of a sudden. A bunch of them have, so hopefully they'll all do okay. So we ended up getting almost a whole row of the Yukon Gold, so we're doing the Innovator in the next row, and then we are going to do what are those other ones called? Another row of red ones.
Yeah.
And then we will use some leftovers of our potatoes again. Still got a bunch of them. Don't think we're going to need them all. I think we could have got away with not buying seed potatoes this year. Again, I got to do the most important job. Venturing out, but we have to keep an eye on Rusty. He hones in on her as soon as she comes outside. The garden is clearly crooked, or if we've laid out our lines crooked. So we're going to put in about a half a row here, and then we started a little far from the fence on this side, so we're going to try and squeeze another row in here and do another row of the Kennebec. Well, that's all the rows planted. We're just putting away the tools, making sure there isn't anything to get chopped by the lawnmower. And we're going to string that chicken wire back up to close this up for now. Don't have a gate made for here yet either. And then we'll put the sprinkler on this and get them watered really well. Well, that's it, closed up temporarily anyway, till we get the rest of this done. I'm going to put a gate between those two posts. That'll keep the heathens out of here, hopefully. And that's going to be way more potatoes than last year. So we are going to need a root cellar for sure. So we're going to put the sprinkler on this, and then Chris is going to go cut some more grass. I might go cut the orchard. I'm running out of steam. But we're going to have something to eat and get these watered right away. I put the mower bag on today and dumped the grass in here for them. And they just about went nuts. Now they have it spread almost everywhere. No, I don't have any more. I'm done for the day. I didn't plan on it, but I did end up coming out after supper and mowing the orchard. Got the hoses all organized. I got to do that side of the trench tomorrow. Chris has still got to take a bunch of that sawed away with the tractor. But I got my rhubarb cut around there so it'll get the sun, and I just have to walk over here and show you. Well, we are gonna have just an amazing sunset again today. So this is the big job tomorrow. Yikes. I was gonna mow in here again. Look how long it is. I'm just gonna leave it. They'll love it. Let them eat the grass or poop on it or do whatever they want. It just looks so tidy when this is done. Look at the zucchini patch back there. The garlic is in there. I can't go in and cut the grass because, my goodness, I can't see the garlic for the grass. We'll have to wait till it gets a little taller and maybe go through with the DR. I don't know. What a mess. And then I've got to do in here in the hammock area again with the DR. It's way too rough and bumpy in there for the mower, and I can't see what I'm hitting if there's sticks and stuff, so I'm just going to use the DR in there and clean that up again someday. Well, that is a big job done, and it makes me very, very happy. We are not going to work on the fence for the babies tonight. We are going to do that in the morning. Yes, I might actually get up in the morning. We've got to get the new tarp on the chicken tractor, take the trough that Chris made over there, and get the fence up. So we'll do that tomorrow. One more night in that little confined space won't kill them, hopefully. But we're done for today. See you next time. Sadie's doing what we call cuckoo runs. She's getting tired. She was going all the way around the sea containers. Are you getting tired? Nope, there she goes. 17-year-old dog. I wish I had that energy. Watch her come around this way. She's fast too. Another lap. She did about 10 laps when I was out setting the sprinkler. She's not stopping yet. Oh my goodness. You took a shortcut that time. Oh, are we done? No, all the way down to the bedroom, jumps in her bed. Are you done? Are you done? You're not sure? You're huffing and puffing. Yeah. You're huffing and puffing.